All right, so you're back with Brian and the Apex Gamer Channel, and we're here in the lab again trying to fix another situation. Players have kind of adapted a knee to the body as a way to chip away at your gut, and a lot of players are having some trouble figuring out the counter to the knee to the body. So that's what we're here to do. We're not here to condone. We're not here to condemn those players for using the knee to the body, because it's a strike that's in the game and it does what it's supposed to do. It does what it's supposed to do. It's in the game. If you press the buttons, the knee comes out, the knee hits the person in the body, the knee takes their stamina, the knee uses stamina. It does all the things it's supposed to do. So obviously it's a part of the game and it's supposed to work the way it's supposed to work. Don't let elitists or supposed purists tell you that that people are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and that people are abusing something that they shouldn't be abusing. No one's abusing anything. No one's abusing anything. Players are doing what is programmed and what built into the game, and they're playing it the way it was built. So they can only do what the game allows them to do. Obviously, if you play Super Mario, you can't just jump on top of a piranha. You can't just do it at any moment. There is moments in the game where you can jump on top of the piranha's head and you're safe, but you can't just straight up jump on top of the piranha. Now, if a player were to jump on top of the piranha and figure out that if you jump on top of the piranha and he's looking up, and this one particular piranha doesn't eat you, that's just not supposed to happen. Obviously, that's not supposed to happen, because all the other piranhas in the game would eat you. If that one piranha doesn't eat you, that shouldn't happen. But if every time you jump on a piranha you die, that's how the game is supposed to work. So if someone's doing something in the game that is working and is effective, that is how it's supposed to work. If it's too effective or not effective enough, that's more of a preference, and that's more of something that you can dialogue about and have some sort of changes made based around that dialogue. But to outright try to condemn a player's play style because it's not what you want to see them doing, that's being extra. That's being an elitist, or some sort of it's being an elitist. Don't let nobody tell you that what you're doing isn't what you should be doing. It might not be, it shouldn't be as effective, but there's always a cause. What's Newton's third? For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every action in the game, there's an equal and opposite counter. So think of it like that. Every situation you're brought into in this game, there is a counter. It's just a matter of knowing the counter, training the counter, and reacting when you see that as a prevalent strategy in the player style, and making that adaptation and winning that battle. It's all about winning micro battles, and that leads you to big victories, winning the micro battles. If you know a guy's kicking body a lot, catch body kicks. If you know a guy's kicking legs a lot, block leg kicks. If you know a guy is throwing uppercuts every time you get in close, don't duck. Don't duck. Get in close, don't duck. Block, don't duck. Like there's always an equal counter to whatever situation there is. There's nothing in the game that if someone does it, it's going to guarantee they win. That is an exploit. That is not supposed to happen. Like if the overhand punch always knocked people out, regardless if they blocked, ducked, slipped, that's an exploit. That's what an exploit looks like. That's what's not supposed to happen. If, like, when you play back in the day, Marvel vs. Capcom, there was infinite combos. That wasn't supposed to happen. Every player had an infinite in that game. That wasn't supposed to happen. That's why in future iterations, they tried to minimize and change the frame data to where infinites don't happen, or where if a player accidentally finds an infinite, it was some obscure series of strikes that led to an infinite, and they immediately adapt the either starting frames or ending frames to correct the situation so that the infinite isn't possible. So that's when an exploit is found. If somebody's just running at you with knees to the body, that's not an exploit. That's just someone has chosen that to be their weapon of choice, and that's the attack they're coming at you with, and they're not going to do anything different because that attack feels safe to them and that attack is working for them. It's your job to find a counter, a reaction, and punish that action so that you could be successful versus players who have adapted that to their style. I don't agree that any player should find one particular thing and just keep doing it, because it leaves you open to that being countered. That's the only reason I don't think a player should do any one thing repetitively. It's best to know all your options. Like when I'm playing Tekken, when I'm Josie, I know if you're a certain distance that my low poke leg kick will hit you and keep you where I need you to be. I know that if you come crazy with something really high, I can back sway with Josie and then evade whatever you're coming with. I know my situations. I know what situation I'm in, and I know what situation I need to be in, so I can use the buttons or the attacks that are based around that situation to avoid that situation getting worse or to better my situation. I know when a player bounces, what string to do to carry the combo. I know which one, I know how to end the situations. So that's basically what you're doing here. You have to win these micro battles, and it's a bunch of micro battles in this game, and that's to be expected. A bunch of micro battles. Figure them out, win the micro battle, and don't complain. I mean, if you have a legitimate concern, like if something is legitimately working in a way that you don't think it should be working, voice that as cleanly as possible, but don't just try to condemn and act like a purist and act like an elitist and act like you're somehow better than everyone else because you're doing something different. If you're doing something different and you're 100% effective and you never lose and you never run into hardship, then yes, you can say that. I can't say that. Everything I do doesn't always work. I make bad decisions all the time. I duck onto uppercuts all the time. But my job is to try to adapt that and to not let that happen, and then never be in a situation where I have a bad choice to make and the bad choice is too easy to fall on. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to look at this. I'm sorry I rambled for you, but the In the Lab series is more of a holistic learning experience, not just so much the game's meta, but just a holistic pugilist experience to learn the art of combat and apply it to the game. So here we're faced with the knee to the body. That's what players are doing. They're getting in close. They're running you with the knee to the body and sometimes the knee to the body followed by the elbow. So that's what they're doing. The counter for that is simple. It doesn't look like it's simple because it doesn't look like there's much you can do. You can throw the uppercut, but you risk taking body damage. So there is an uppercut that will work, but you take body damage to do it. The combo the counter that stops body damage altogether, you just slip the knee. Slip the knee and do a fire off a counter shot while the knee is slipped. As soon as you see the knee coming, slip it to the outside. Slip to the outside of the knee and punish. Boom, boom. Dead body. Instant. Very simple. Hard to do in the moment. The last time I fought a player who was using knees, I wasn't thinking slip. I was thinking uppercut or hook. I was thinking something was going to cut down that distance and hurt him faster. I mean, obviously, if you can time it and you know the knee is coming, the jab is going to altogether stifle it. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Like, we'll take a look at someone coming at you with the knee to the body and you seeing it from a mile away, jabbing and then hitting him with a low kick. So obviously he's going to do the knee, and if he gets close enough for the knee to land, we're going to just jab him. As soon as he gets close enough, bam, stop that. But that is a lot harder to time. That takes a lot more. That takes you to absolutely trust that the knee is coming and to immediately throw the jab. If you're good at jabbing, if you're good at seeing first reactions and jabbing, that might be the counter for you. But the simplest counter, the truest counter, is to just see the knee, slip to the outside, hit him with whatever you want to hit him with. And when the knee elbow comes, if you've already landed the counter shot, the elbow won't even come. So just try to, if you slip it to the outside or if you slip to the outside, just immediately fire off the counter so that the elbow never even comes out. Boom, boom. Hit him with the counter before he even gets a chance to fire off the elbow. Because most players, when they see that slip, when that slip happens, they're gonna scramble back to their block button. They're not gonna think counter. They're gonna scramble to that block button and try to get out of there as soon as possible. Because things are getting hairy, getting real scary. They're gonna try to get out of there quickly. So just know that's the counter to the knee. I got a comment yesterday and I didn't get a chance to answer it because I haven't answered my comment yet. I usually do that in the morning when I first wake up, but I got a late morning. Sue me. I woke up late, but I woke up late today, so I'm just getting started on this video, and then that was fresh on my mind. I saw that comment right before I went to bed last night, so it was fresh on my mind. And you can slip to the inside of the knee too. It's just a little less, a little harder to see. But slipping to the inside against a southpaw who's throwing the lead knee is most effective because it gives you that rear hook uppercut combination that could drop him like I did there. And let's switch our stances real quick, and then we'll look at it again. But when you're in the same stance as the other person, just slip to the outside. That's just your safest bet. It doesn't give you the most counter potential because not a lot of people throw that slip to the outside uppercut. I mean, slip to the outside hook. But you can right now, the way the game works, you can throw this right here, and it might get caught under the body sometimes. But sometimes it might hit, like it hit there, but it kind of like it got caught under the body. So it's really, the hook is the best counter once you've slipped. Whether you're slipping to the inside or something to the outside, the hook is the best counter. Pop out, hit him with a two-piece there, send him to the mats. Send him to the mats. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's not really much else I can show you with this particular situation because it's a fairly simple situation to counter because it's just slipping to the outside. So, you know, basically every situation is a micro situation. That, like, if I were to give you a summary of this video, every situation is a micro situation. Everything you have to do, you have to make immediate decisions based around very small situations, and you have to kind of compartmentalize the fight as it breaks down. If you're thinking in that way, it's going to make it easier for you to know when you made a bad decision, and you won't blame your opponent for the reason you lost. Like, oh, this guy's a dirtbag. Like, no, he's not. You knew he was doing something. You knew he was successful with it, and you didn't react, and you didn't do the right thing. So put the blame back on yourself. Putting the blame back on yourself will make it a lot easier to stomach losses. Like, a lot of players probably get real ragey when something happens, when, you know, you're not sure why it happened or whatever situation it may be. It's easy to kind of get in that mindset where you're like, this guy's a dirtbag, a scumbag. This guy's a loser. Look at him being a loser. Well, he's doing what comes natural to him. He's playing the game the way he chooses to play the game. And what is working for him is working because the game is designed for it to work. If it wasn't designed to work, it wouldn't work, obviously. If the game didn't want him to be able to throw 2 knees back-to-back, the game wouldn't let him throw 2 knees back-to-back. There would be some sort of stun that would prevent the knee from coming. But because that's not the case, that's just the play style. You have to do better in that situation. Just try to win the micro battles, and you'll be fine. That's pretty much all I can say. Just every situation that comes up, we'll look at it here in the lab series and try to figure out ways. Like when a large scale situation comes up, like a lot of people were talking to me about the knees yesterday after my video. They saw that and they were like, "Oh man, somebody did that to me as well. What do I do to counter that?" So obviously I'm going to look for the natural counter, the easiest way to rectify the situation, and we'll work from there. So you see a knee coming, slip it. Sometimes it's harder to predict, but most players who are doing the knees right now are doing them in a way that's not super hard to predict. You know it's coming, and they think that you don't have a counter for it. So because they think you don't have a counter for it, you know, they're liable to just keep perpetually using it. And because they're perpetually using it, we do know that there's a counter. We know for sure now that if you slip to the outside and throw a hook, you're going to hit them. At least one of the strikes you throw off the counter is going to land. And they're going to have to pay and answer for that. And they're going to have to adapt their strategy based on the fact that you know that that's the counter. But until next time, it's been Brian at the Apex Gamer Channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you can actually apply it to your game in a way that is rewarding and quick. And you can continue to grow, and we can continue to grow as a team, as a unit, as a channel, and grow as a family, and continue to add more people to the team, to the army. And I'm just looking for growth. You know, we're all looking for growth. We're all looking to get better at the game. We're all looking to understand the game better, because what else do we got to do, you know? I mean, we can sit back on our thumbs and not play online because we don't want to run into a spammer, a quote-unquote head sway spammer. We don't want to run into a knee spammer. If we just figure out what situations we can be most successful against those particular strategies, and it's instance-based. It's all instance-based. It's not like if someone has really great head movement, they're doing 1,000 different things. No, they're probably only doing a few things. They might be doing about 4 different things. They might be slipping to the inside and coming up with an uppercut, or slipping down low and coming up with an uppercut, or slipping to the right and throwing the hook as soon as you do anything. Like there's not a freak load of things they could be doing that would make it to where it's impossible for you to figure out a strategy and to figure out ways to be successful against them. So even the best players run into players that can figure them out. Like, I played some of the better guys online in the game, and I played them as lesser characters. And when I play them as lesser characters, they still have to work. If they're going to beat me, they're going to have to work to get it. And they're going to have to do all types of shenanigans. They're going to have to come at me strange to get that win, because I'm not about to just sit there and sit on my hands and be like, well, this guy's higher ranked, so, you know, if he get the win, he got the win. I'm not going to sit there and do that. Like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try to figure out a way to break through and try to get the win. Like, I played a guy who was number 5 at the time when I played him, and he was TJ Dillashaw going ham, doing all sorts of stuff, running from 8 miles away with head kicks, doing all sorts of stuff. And I was Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera don't got the stats to compete with TJ Dillashaw. Contrary to popular belief, he might have good power and good hand speed, but he don't got the chin. He don't got the heart. He don't got the toughness. He don't have no perks built around striking, so he is not going to hurt you with just one shot and finish you. But TJ will. TJ will hurt you quick and finish you fast. But that guy had to fight me to the 4th round as me playing as Jimmy Rivera before I ducked onto an uppercut in a situation where I knew the uppercut was potential. I knew there was a chance that he was going to throw an uppercut because we were standing so close together. He rocked me with a running head kick from a distance, ran at me with a combination, and threw an uppercut in the midst of a jab, straight, jab, hook. I blocked the jab, straight, jab, hook. Then he threw an uppercut just out of the blind. He didn't know if I was going to slip to the outside, slip to the inside, or slip down. He just took a chance, and I ducked down. I was too close to him to make that decision, and I ducked down. This was like maybe 2.5 weeks ago. or I don't know, maybe even longer than that. It might have been closer to when the game was released, but I made the bad decision. Therefore, I took the loss, and I have no problem dealing with that because it is what it is. I didn't win the micro battle. I knew I was close enough to get hit with an uppercut if I ducked, and I ducked. Sue me, you know. I ain't tripping. I wasn't affected. I wasn't recording. I was rendering a video and chilling, and I just happened to see his name, and I was like, ooh, this one might be interesting. But I was trying to get a feel for Jimmy Rivera because he's on my list to do requests, and I was like, let me take him in the rank. Let me see what's popping with Jimmy Rivera. Let me see if I can do this. Went out there, fought some guys who were easier to beat, fought some guys who were harder to beat. It is what it is. But until next time, I'm Brian, the Apex Gamer Channel. Hope you learned something. Hope you can adapt some of my philosophies, I guess, my thoughts, you know, into your mind frame so that you don't fall into like cliches of thought. Like UFC 2 had a lot of problems, but the problems weren't the players themselves. It was just not having ample enough strategy to play around their style. Like there wasn't a lot of tips videos that were past, you know, starting the game, learning how to grapple, learning how to do this thing. There wasn't like a lot of high level tips. Like if you see this thing, do this. Like there was a thing I did on UFC 2 all the time. If I denied a clinch attempt from a clinch spammer, I threw a lead head kick. Almost always the lead head kick hit. So anytime I saw a clinch coming, because they were fast and hard to get out of the way of, I shucked the clinch and hit him with the head kick. Almost always. And I was always looking for little avenues where little things like that were always working in my favor. So I knew once I saw this that I can do that. And that's fighting games. Like I see a lot of people complaining about in the forums like, oh, this guy blocked this thing, and when he blocked this thing, I couldn't block my head and I got hit by this strike every time consistently. That's fighting games. If you don't know how a fighting game works, you have no place to speak on the community of fighting games. That's how fighting games work. Fighting in real life. Obviously, if someone denies your clinch, there is a slight chance that you will block the next thing they do. There is a percentage of people who have that quick of reaction time, but you can't represent that in a video game because the video game would be incredibly stale if every person could do everything the exact same way that anyone else can do. If you play Tekken or if you play Street Fighter, there are things that once they hit, there are frames that you can't react in. Like if you whiff a Shoryuken, you whiff a Dragon Punch. You whiff that Dragon Punch, you go flying in the air, and you come down. As you're coming down, before your feet touch the ground, in Street Fighter 4, you were invulnerable. You couldn't be hit by anything. That makes no sense. And that's what some people are advocating for this game. They're advocating for situations where they've made a bad decision and they want to be invulnerable to the counter. That's crazy. That's a crazy line of thought. Don't let that seep into who you are. Don't let that line of thought seep into your persons. Hit you with that Kyle Barker. But until next time, I'm Brian, the Apex Gamer Channel. Think about these things from a holistic view and think about your ways to be successful within those realms. This turned into something longer than it usually is, but hopefully it's all useful. I think it's useful because that's the way I think, and you know, I think it's useful. I'm not saying I'm like the guru, but I do think it's useful information. So until next time, I'm Brian, the Apex Gamer Channel. Hope you enjoy the video. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you learn from this. Hope you can adapt this strategy to avoiding being kneed in the gut 1,000 times because it is awful and it bleeds your stamina almost immediately. So yeah, don't let the Muay Thai guys take advantage of you. See you soon, my man. See you soon. We got a career video coming at 4 o'clock, so that will be when I see you. Got some things in that career video. Got a good fight in there, fighting a big name. So he was something. He was something. But until next time, I'm Brian, the Apex Gamer Channel. See you as soon as possible, which will be 4 o'clock. So.